So creating these fields was a problem that Victoria brought to the group with importing records from OCLC. So we've been kind of working through getting consistent results with the process for all kinds of item records. Full disclosure, I am not a cataloger, so I don't actually understand the importance of 336 through 338. Um, but I can help work through the process. So I'm going to do two screens so that we can uh, take notes and do this slowly. Okay. Gonna go to Pierce because I know that is where we've been working on this, and it's in that environment. Okay, so we created a physical titles set. And I think if I get in here, we can see yes. So we were limiting by various additional characteristics so that we wouldn't be working with super giant sets. So let me, what is, so I think, and this is why we keep doing it over and over again. So let's create an itemized set. And we're going to call this just test set that Carly will erase. And we're looking for 336, 338 is missing. And then set content type needs to be physical titles. And then if you do it from the search, we can use an advanced search. You also want to make sure that it is not a private set. You can also run a report in analytics and use that. So create itemized physical titles set. Uncheck private. Create set from search. Okay, and so then we did anyone is more than welcome to jump in if you're like, Carly, this is not the way to do it. We must have done it from analytics. Does anyone remember? Because we can't. Okay, so if we did, then, okay, we're just gonna, nope, I just want to delete this nonsense and start over. But if we did it from analytics, there should be an analytics report that I already used. And okay. Mm, hmm. Let me search in here. Nope. Okay. Let's see if I put better notes anywhere else. Okay. Nope. Cool. Okay, guys, what do we think? Should we create an analysis and put it in a shared folder so that we can refer to it in this instructional thing? All right, done. So then it's going to be under titles. And we are looking for bibliographic details. How did we do this? I'm sure that Kirsty knows. George, do you remember? You and Linda were at most of these. How did we find the set of ones that were missing those fields?
I'm looking back at my notes right now, Carly, to see if I can find the answer.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the old recordings to figure out how we did this.
Good gracious. Okay. Alma, create set of titles with missing bib fields. Nope, we do not need MMS IDs. go into was itemized, was physical. Oh, guys, we used an indication rule because, of course, we did, because that's literally what this group has been doing since the beginning. Oh, heavens, I am so sorry. We had plumbers today finally show up to put the pipe in through my office, and it has just completely scrambled my brain. Okay, so, indication rule used copy of ex libris retrieval records which do not contain a 336 and a 337 and a 338 field. Okay, so in order to create a set from an indication rule, we have to run a job. So we go to admin and we say run a job. And then if we do content type and bib record, bib title, that kind of reduces them, and it is we're looking for an indication. Norm. Mm, I'm sure it's in here. Here we go. Okay, so we've got, that's the normalization. Oh, this is going. So well. I am so sorry, guys. Okay. The process for creating a set based on an indication rule is in the instructions here. So, we do okay, it's coming back to me. This this meeting is probably just a get our brains back up to speed meeting and won't be useful at all. But so we did this. We created a set, and we created a set based on like a type of material, which we can do. So we created an itemized set, and we did this test. We did it from physical titles. We did it from search. And then we did material type because we were essentially creating small things. So maybe it wasn't material type, maybe it was like location. Or what was the other thing that we were looking maybe used? Well, we're going to use location. And then, okay, they don't have a children's section. What do they have? They have a reference section. What? Should probably do this just in advance. Okay, so we chose a single collection to do it one at a time. You could create a set of more than that. So I don't think periodical. I wanted paperback. Okay. So we got paperbacks at Fort Stillicum, and we will create this set. And it's only 163. So then we say done. And now we have created an itemized set based on a location. So if you wanted to run this job on, musical scores, etc., you can kind of, keep small test scopes in here. Now we close that side by side. We go to the more actions on that set and we run filter set. At this point, we choose an indication rule, and you can see we've got the one that I mentioned in the actual directions here, and very clearly I need to make a note of how to get that indication rule into your local indication rules, which is the process with going into the MDE. Okay, so we'll do test set is filtered, is not private, and then we hit filter, and now it will run this job, and we will get another one. So I'm going to throw, okay. So choose titles based on some physical title attribute. Okay, and now we go to manage sets. It should have shown up by now. Bingo. So we've got this, and we can, I just want to see it. No records. Okay. Well, that's how we do it. Anyway, this was the one that we created because even after the second pass, even after the first one, we still got, so it was visual materials with the 035A, which is something you can search on in physical titles, and that did not have a 33X. And we ended up with $33 titles. Most of them are suppressed anyway. So now we've got that. And once you have the filtered set that is limiting to the missing fields, you can do the normalization process. And so in order to do the normalization process, you have to have the norm rule that you want to use in your local MDE. So if we go into this, I wonder how many hundreds of times I'll have to do this before I actually remember it. And then we do rules, and we have already added these two rules into the shared but local thing. So this was the rule, this non-books one that we used the first time through. And what happened was we still have those 33 some odd records that did not get changed by this. And that's where we're kind of hoping that we can combine some more rules or find an additional rule, because this has a lot of types of materials in here that somehow still didn't catch. So there's this one, there's multiple. So here's a DVD, which I think is helpful because a lot of those ones that I saw in the set were DVDs. So if we were going to use this one on that set, we would want to find this, and then we need to save this rule to our shared folder instead of the community folder. So we're going to do rule actions duplicate, and then get rid of copy, and we're going to do shared. Great. Now it's in our local instance, so we can choose it when we go to filter to run the normalization process. So we've got this one. Now we're going to get out of the MDE, and we're going to go into jobs, run a job, and we're going to do the type is a Mark 21 bib normalization. And we're going to do this, add RDA 3XX fields. And next. And then it will ask us for which set we want to do it on. We want this filtered one we just created. Now we're going to get to choose the rule. The selected set contains zero. Did I not do that right? Okay, hold on. That's the one we're doing because it was our second pass one. Okay, so we've got 33 in here. Okay, yes, 33. Now we're going to try this DVD one. We submit. So we're adding, so that's the job. All right. It's not very big, so it should go fairly quickly. Just kidding. It's not going to. Good heaven. Okay. Let's work on these notes though. Okay, so we need to create itemized physical title set. So we choose titles. The other thing, what was it? The OCLC 035A. And then filter set with chosen indication rule, but indication rule must be. Okay. Then we filter the itemized physical titles that I literally the same thing. Okay. There are I'll put a bunch of lists of the different rules. Okay. There we go. All right, so now we'll check and see if it worked. So we'll go in to manage sets. I'm going to delete these two because we didn't use them. Don't need to confuse Victoria. And then the second pass one. So now if we go to content and if we look at this record, we will hopefully now see that this record has, ta-da, it does. Okay, catalogers extraordinaire. Does the rest of it still look right?
Generally, yes, it may need an 007 field, but that's,
A different issue.
yeah. And
Okay.
to do that, I would just go back to OCLC with that control number and bring in a fresh record.
Okay, I'm gonna release this. Yes. Okay. So that is basically the process that we had been working on. And I think the last thing that we were trying to figure out was which all of the rules did we need? Because because we tried this non-book and we tried book, but it was still not catching those DVDs. So I guess if we were gonna really be overachievers, we would combine all of these, right? And then we'd just have one rule that would like work for all of them. And we could do that using the cool new form type instead. So we'll play with that just so it's in this recording. So we're doing what? Okay. Okay. Now we can save. Okay, so this new form way of building indication rules is very cool. And what we need to be able to do is go back and forth between the existing ones. Where did it go? Okay. Why am I not able to see the other ones now? I just want to. There they are. Okay. That's that one. This is the. Okay. So this is an example of an indication rule that is built using the form format. And I want to find the other ones. Why can I not find them? Okay. They're in normals. And I was trying to do an indication rule, which is not even the same thing. Guys, my brain is clearly so toast. Is it worth it to continue this today? Thoughts? Okay. Sadly, this cool new thing with the forms doesn't work for normalization. You still have to use drool. But theoretically, if we combine this guy that's got the ebooks, this one that is the physical books, except okay, so these two norm rules of ebooks and physical books are contingent on your set already being limited to that type of title. Same with this DVD one. The non-books one is different because it's applying the 336, 337, 338 dependent on what is in the leader. So if we want to add any additional missing types, because we've got in here, yeah, we'd need to, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of breaking things, I'm going to put this into Notepad. Also, just as a total aside that has nothing to do with cataloging at all, but so that you don't feel like I'm a complete idiot today. So you know how we have issues with patrons not loading into Alma if they're missing like an email or a phone number or an address. So fun fact, the users that get loaded through the SIS with that your user load job shouldn't be affected by your mandatory fields user creation rules. Like it should load them anyway. But for as long as anyone can remember, it has not worked that way. And so I've several colleges actually quote clean the extract from data link and pull out any records that don't have that information because they get rejected when they get imported into Alma. Well, with Shoreline rebuilding their load, they've got quite a few of those because, you know, that's not being cleaned out. And there's zero reason why they shouldn't be put in. Like some of these had phone numbers and just not like a physical address, or they actually had one of them was complete. It was just listed twice, and the first time it was listed, it didn't have the stuff. So if the like wouldn't take that one, and then the second one it said no, this is already used. Anyway, silly coding nonsense. But I have started a ticket with Ex Libris because they're like, yep, that shouldn't be happening. So we might actually get a solution to that one. Okay. So here we've got the non-books one, and I have put it in here. And I think what this will take to really so we've got, I think we're going to need to go through every single one of these conditional rules and basically figure out what is missing, because we've got ebook here and microfilm, reel, carriage, fiche, braille. So we've got the video TD DVD, and yet it did not work on those records that we just ran the DVD one on. And why was that?
There was no 007 in the field, so that was one of the conditions.
Oh, got it. Okay. So that's probably why that didn't work. I mean, it is why it didn't work. Good eye, George. Okay. So do should we, like, would it be worth taking out the exist control 007 on some of these? Because, like, do we think that's a wide-ranging issue? But here's the other thing. It says, okay, so this is online, and this says 008. Hold on. Where was that record? I want to see what was in the 008. That was this one.
It's the man on a wire.
Yes, okay. So in the 008, so it wouldn't have triggered this 2D DVD one, but should it have triggered this 008? Oh, good grief. Okay.
No, because it's not a streaming video. So it wouldn't be coded with the O in the 29th position or whatever.
And so would this norm rule work more consistently if there was like an 007 or an 008 condition on some of these other materials? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So, like,
if you go back to the bib record and click on the 008 again and then open the form editor? Is there anything that identifies it as a disc as opposed to a videotape or whatever? And I don't.
Well, it
Yeah, I think it's only in the 007 that you get the codes that will distinguish, is it a disc, is it a cassette, what format is it in? I don't think that shows up in the 008. Does that sound right, George?
Yeah, just from looking at the form editor, I think that is right.
Oh, and this doesn't have, I was like, why isn't it showing me? Because it doesn't have an 007. So
What if you go editing actions, add field, type in 007, then open the form editor?
yeah, okay. Material type is video recording?
Yep.
Okay, and now. Ah, yeah, so here it is. And that would be, so this one is looking at the first position and
V
yeah,
and
the V and the D, which it's looking at 0 and then 2. Got it.
Yeah, so what this means in a nutshell is if you have mark records that don't have
A
an 007
007.
field,
You got better
this
problems?
isn't going to work. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Then at that point, just reload the OCLC record and you'll probably get the 007 and the 3XX fields.
Well, and that set was down to 33, which was really kind of what becomes more manageable, especially when you look and you're like, oh, only 3 of these were still in the collection anyway. So I'm sure I have warnings. Okay. It is multicolored. And I'm going to say unknown. And no attempt to code. And no attempt to code. And then I don't totally screw up this record, hopefully. And I'll just also send Victoria a message. Okay, so there's probably then some, okay, what was the one that so this one, which we don't have, I just want the name of this. There we go. So let's put the note in here that this one, conditional based on contents of 007 or 008. There we go. And then that is something useful for everybody who is attempting to use that rule. So then there's probably some other decent notes we could make on like where was that? On this one. So this one does not have any conditional, so it's going to add this content to anything you apply it to that doesn't have that field already. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yes, and it's based and it's pre it assumes that you've already created a set of just physical books to run that against.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. All right. I think finally, I got the rest of the context on why some of these work and some of them didn't. So this is the other book one. Let's just really quick compare them. And this one is only slightly more complex because it will only add the subfields if subfields already don't exist. But if your main field doesn't exist, how would your subfield exist? Right? Like you can't have a 338B if you don't have a 338, right? So this one seems cleaner. Plus it's got that salience. Does this, and this one does not have salience. Whoop, that's not, yeah. Okay. So all right. Yeah, so I think just picking, okay, so we got the non-books, we got the physical books. This ebooks one also assumes that the set and catalogers. How might you characterize a set of only ebooks based on like an 007 or 008?
Ooh,
Or maybe we don't have to use this one ever because this has ebook in it already? Yes, because this already has the 008 to find ebooks. So, yes. Okay. I think this is coming together a lot more for my brain. I don't know how necessarily helpful this was for you guys, except that, we've been working on this for a while. But I think now I can at least be like, use this rule when and this rule when, and these are why they're different. And then I can get some screenshots and the full steps and actually get this one into shape closer to this one. So thanks for sticking with me. And we've got a couple minutes. Does anyone have an idea for like something else we could work on that you'd like to um, do at our next meeting?
One of the things that might be hanging on from back when a lot of folks were on Voyager
Mm-hmm.
is call numbers in the Mark Holdings record that only have a single subfield.
Okay.
So there's one section of the call number that has to deal with this is the topic, and there's another section of the call number that has to deal with this is related to the actual thing that you have in your hand. And they should technically be in two different subfields.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there was a point in time in the Voyager system where everything was being put into one subfield.
So it might be worth investigating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they're in one subfield versus two, they sort differently and like
Yeah.
a normalized call numbers sort.
Okay. I like this. I don't understand it, but I like it. Okay. I am going to endeavor to finally put this set of instructions in order and share them out so that
When
we
you
can move.
when
Yeah,
you said Endeavor, was that a Voyager joke?
no, but it should have been. I was really, really on my space and library puns. Um, so, yes, I'm gonna try really hard to get this sucker put away because we have been toiling on it since like July. We haven't had that many meetings, but I like to have some progress. So,
I think
thank
that
you
was
all.
July last year, though.
No,
Wasn't
it
it?
was.
Is it
I wasn't here July of 22.
really?
Yes, I
Sorry,
started November
time.
1st. I know summer seems like a year ago, but it was in fact
Oh,
only 4. I can do math. 10 minus 7. 3 months. No, July, August, September. Yep, that was 3 months ago. Uh, a
really?
lifetime.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so, good times. Yeah, look at how much we've done. So many things because we started this up in April. Um, two whole norm rules processes complete. Um, so I'm gonna work on getting this thing done so we can move on to another project. And this group is one of the ones that does meet more than once a month. So hopefully we can kind of get into a rhythm and not completely forget everything about the MDE and managing sets and running jobs in between. And by we, I mean me. So, thank you so much. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. And we will investigate this subfields from Voyager conundrum. And I'll stop recording.